I'm going to review this week's assignment. So this week, we're going to be concentrating on dividing monomials. So we'll talk about what monomials are in this power Google slide. So the Google slide, you have it. I just want to review it real quick. All right, so dividing monomials. Oops. So what is a monomial? Basically, a monomial is just a missing number, or it could be, I'm sorry, it could be a number or a missing number, which is called a variable. Okay, that's all it is. Okay. And then when the number, and this is a, this is a common mistake. So we mentioned it in this Google slide. When the number at the top is the same as the number at the bottom, the denominator, they just simply cancel out and become 1. So let's go over some examples. So 2 divided by 2, because a fraction is basically division, 2 over 2 is going to be equal to what? Based on that rule which I just talked about in this previous one. What's that going to be? Let's see.
1.
1. Okay, cool. Oh, doesn't want to change. Okay, mouse. There it is. Okay, so that's going to be 1. What about 279 over 279?
What?
It's going to be 1. Cool. So, so remember, if the fraction is the same at the top and the bottom, the numerator and denominator is going to be 1. So this is a common mistake, so I wanted to mention it. Oops, let me move. Okay, let me close that. And let's do it again. Oops. All right, so same thing here, big number. It's exactly the same, so it's going to be 1. Okay, those were numbers, now variables, okay, with powers, exponentials, basically. Same thing. If the top is exactly the same as the bottom, it's always going to be 1. So this one is it going to be 1?
No.
Nope, it's not going to be 1. So this one, let me go ahead and write this on the PowerPoint. So in this one, there's 2 ways to do it. So I'm going to explain one of the ways, okay, to simplify this. So again, if they're exactly the same top and bottom, it's going to be 1. But this one is, what does x to the 5th mean? If you did the other lessons, x to the 5th means you're going to multiply this is called a base. You're going to multiply the base 5 times, okay? So x times x times x. So I'm going to do it 5 times. Is that 5? At the top?
Yeah, true, go.
5. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
And on the bottom is going to be x times x times another x, because it's x to the 3rd power. All right, so what do you do now? Okay, so for this one, what you do is, remember, if they're exactly the same, you can cancel and they become 1. So we can use the same rule. X divided by x, so this x divided by this x cancels out. This x divided by this x is also canceling out. And this x divided by this other x is canceling out. The other 2 cannot be canceled because there's no more x's. So the answer will be, and let me write that a darker color. So the answer will be x to the 2nd power. Why? Because multiplying x times x twice. So that is the same thing as x to the 2nd power. Cool?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one way you can do this. Okay. The other way, I'm going to write it. I'm going to write the rule right here. So there's a rule, and it's also on one of the slides here, but I'm going to write it here. So whenever you divide exponentials with the same base, the base are the same, x and x. If you're dividing exponential with the same base, basically what you do with the powers is you subtract the top minus the bottom. That's supposed to be 5, okay? So simplifying this, using this rule, the rule means, again, if the x's are the same, I mean, the bases are the same, which is x, you can divide or you can subtract the powers. Top goes on the first and then the minus is the bottom. Okay, so this simplifies to, what's 6 minus 3? I mean, I'm sorry, 5
5 minus 3. 2, Chico.
2. So it's the same exact answer, it's just a different method. So this rule is actually mentioned in this Google slide. We're gonna run into it, but I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Okay, you can also do this. The problem with using this is what if we had like y to the 100 over y to the second? Well, if we use this first method of expanding, this means expanding. So x to the fifth means x times x times x times x times x 5 times. But this one is 100 times. Who wants to multiply y 100 times, right? You're gonna run out of paper anyways. And then you got the y over 2. So this is why we have this rule. Simplifies this whole the whole job of expanding it. So again, the rule says if the bases are the same, so both of them have y, so it's gonna satisfy that. You subtract the first exponential or the exponential on the top minus the exponential at the bottom. So this actually becomes y to the 98th power because you subtract 100 from 2. Cool? Okay, so let's move on to the next one. All right, so what do you, so I'm gonna leave it, I'm gonna let you guys answer this one. So I'm gonna give you like, I don't know, 30 seconds and then we're gonna, I want you to write your answer. Oh no, you can't write your answer because this is power. So this is, sorry, thinking of like Schoology. So you can actually write exponentials on Schoology, but you can't do it here. So think about it, 30 seconds. What will be the answer? And then I'm gonna ask you. So there's 2 ways of doing this. You can choose either way. Okay. So Rajan, what was your answer? And you can be wrong, it's okay. Anybody can be wrong. If you didn't get it, you could just say that. But what is x to the 5th?
Hold on, Chico. I'm on the phone with my attorney.
Okay, no problem. All right, so Rosa, what were you saying? All right, so let's do it. So let's do it the 2 different ways.
You can talk.
Who's that? We have a guest?
No,
Rosa. Oh, that's cool. All right, so this, I'm gonna do the first way I show you, you can x to the 5th power means I'm gonna multiply x, however power it is. So x in this case is gonna be multiplied 5 times. I'm sorry, I'm trying to use my, the only way I can do this is writing it on like the laptop path. So it takes a while. I think we did this already, right? I think we did. Oh, that's weird. Okay. All right. So anything exactly the same can cancel. So what are we left? Well, we just left with the numerator on top, and x times x means x to the 2nd power. You can use the other method. Okay. And I'm just going to write the answer here. So if this method is, if the variables are the same, I mean, if the bases are the same, which is they are, that would be the big number or the big variable. If they're the same, the powers could be different, but if they're the same, then you can use the rule. It says just keep the same base and subtract the exponential at the top minus the exponential at the bottom. 5 minus 3 is going to be x to the second power. So this takes longer, but some people like doing that for visual purposes. This is better for them. But if you can memorize the rule that says if the bases are the same, the variables or the letters, the big number or the big letter, if they're the same, then you can just subtract the top power minus the bottom power. Cool. Oops. Let me see if I can clear that. All right. So move on to the next slide. So in this case, they use the simpler way. In the simpler way, sometimes is the best way. You just have to memorize the rule, which just basically is if the bases are the same, in this case they are x's, then just subtract the top power from the bottom power. Otherwise, you're going to have to multiply x 80 times at the top, and you have to multiply x 70 other times, and that's going to take a long time. So in this case, the best method, in my opinion, for me, unless you want to expand that, is using the rule. So since the bases are the same, which will be the x, we're going to subtract the power of the top minus the power at the bottom. So what's 80 minus 75, Rosa? Oh, you're probably busy, huh? Okay. So 80 minus 75 is going to just have 5 left.
Wait, Trigo, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, wait, are you calling me Rosa?
Wait, did I call you Rosa? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I'm Maria. My bad. I was like, I'm the
Oh,
only
my
girl,
bad.
so who can you
Okay.
talk to?
My bad. Let's go
No,
change
you're
it.
good. You're good, Trigo. That happens.
Okay. For some reason, I thought it would. Okay. Bad.
Remember Mary? When I used to ask just to be called Mary?
So you changed your name to
No.
Maria?
No, that's just the short version I'm just used to.
Okay. My bad. I know it's early in the
It's
morning.
okay.
I
I
still.
was just like, hey, I just realized you said Rosa like 2 times.
Oh, my bad. My
No,
bad.
you're okay.
Okay. So this is gonna be. So let's see. Let's do another. Let me clear this one. And let's see. I think now. I think for now, I think pretty much, I think we have just a couple of other slides, examples. And I'm having issues with my laptop. For some reason, it's freezing. Okay. So let me just have you guys do this one, just to make sure I don't need to review it some more. So just tell me what will be the answer. Try to use the rule you have to memorize.
7
It
to the
says,
second.
huh?
7 to the second power.
Yep. Because the bases, the big numbers are the same. So you're going to subtract. Let me write it down for visual purposes.
You throw
So
something.
7 stays 7. You subtract the top minus the bottom. Now, where did I get that 1? Well, 1 is invisible in algebra. The number 1 is basically invisible. So if you see a number 7, there's a power of 1. If you were to see 9, there's a power of 1. It's just invisible. X is the same thing as x to the first power. Okay. Y, same thing. Y to the first. There's always going to be a 1. If regardless, there's always a 1. So we just subtract that, meaning subtract the powers, and that will give you
Two.
7, yes, 7 to second power. Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, and then I'm gonna move on to the other slide. So I believe there's a few more examples. I think there was three examples. So I'm gonna let you guys finish that. Let me go back to the folder. And there's some additional lessons, and puzzle videos that demonstrate that again. So for more examples, you should complete those before you try the assessment. So now let's talk about negatives and zero power rules. Okay, there are a couple of rules that you need to know. Oops, what happened? There it is. All right, so a couple of things you need to know about exponentials. Okay, so this is from last week. Okay, so if you completed the assignments from last week, we were multiplying binomials. So when you multiply binomials, okay, you add the powers. When you divide binomials, like what we were doing today, you do the opposite of adding, which is subtracting. Okay, so this we went over last week. And then there's another additional thing here that we need to look at. Whenever you see an exponential, okay, to a power, and then parentheses to another power, basically you just multiply. Oops, my bad. Basically, you are just gonna multiply the powers. So whenever you see an exponential x to the 7, or it could be any other number, and then outside there's a parenthesis, and outside is another exponent, you just multiply the exponents, and they become 21. Okay. This one you need to know too, because a lot of times, well, this one, a lot of people get confused with this one too. So this power right here, anything to the 0 power means 1. Okay. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So if I had x to the 0, what's it going to be?
One.
Very good. If I have a 1,000,000.5 to the 0 power, what is that going to be?
It's still gonna be
1.
a 1, right?
Yep. So anything raised to the 0 power is always going to be 1. All right. And then anything that has a negative exponent, you can rewrite it. So sometimes that's helpful, but you don't need to. So whenever you have x to a negative power, is the same thing as 1 over 1 over that same thing, but make it positive.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other one is what we went over today. Okay, it's dividing binomials. So whenever you divide binomials, you subtract the powers. So those are the rules that you're going to be working on in this week's assignments. Are there any questions so far?
Man,
Okay, I think the best thing to do at this point is I'm going to stay online. You guys, if you have access to Schoology, go ahead and start. And if you get stuck, we still have until what, 9, actually 10, 10:20. So you guys can just jump in again and I can help you with that. Is that a deal? But before you do that, let me make sure I get it. So Maria, what's your last name? Bye.
My last name is Alvarado.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while.
I know, it's been a long time.
Everything okay though?
Yes, I'm glad everything is back okay.
All right. So go ahead and you guys can go to Schoology. I'm going to give you the points for attending Zoom. And if you get stuck, yes, sir.
I did the dividing with my nominals yesterday.
Okay. So you want to try the other one?
Sure.
Okay. And just in case you get stuck, because right now we're reviewing the algebra from Algebra A, really. But pretty soon, in 2 weeks, we're gonna talk about things that you probably didn't get to, like I don't know if your quadratic equations and stuff like that. So
I never did that.
yeah, it can get a little complicated. So let's try to use this. Make sure that you guys understand it because it's difficult to learn it, online. This part, what we're gonna talk about in 2 weeks.
All right.
Trigo,
Yes, ma'am.
are we ever going back to school? Well, like, I mean, like, now?
So most likely we are when we come back in for after summer. By the way, there's gonna be summer school. So if you fell behind, you're gonna have an opportunity.
I need summer school.
Okay, so yeah, there's gonna be an opportunity for you guys to take summer school. It's gonna be it's gonna be offered, I believe, online if you prefer, or in person. The only thing about that is that there's only gonna be a few teachers that are gonna be teaching that. So I'm not sure. I haven't decided if I know for the beginning of July, I won't be in town, period. But in case sir or I don't do it, probably gonna be online unless you wanna go to the site of the teacher teaching. But I'm not sure if sir is gonna also do it. But and then when we come back in spring, I mean in the fall, it's most likely gonna be in class.
Okay. That's
So yeah, we just have to hang in a couple of weeks, and then when we come back, especially next year, is gonna be hopefully back to normal.
okay. That's
Hey,
good to know.
Trigo,
Yes, sir.
it's coming to school mandatory.
Coming to school, like
Y'all
right
not
now.
gonna have Zoom classes no more.
Yeah, this is Zoom classes, and it is mandatory because 30%.
Talk about next when we come back from the summer.
Oh, no, we're not. I don't think it's gonna be mandatory if you don't feel comfortable. So there's actually gonna be a way for us to be in class and not at the same time for the students who don't want to be in class to get material online.
All right, for sure.
Yeah, that's a good question because I think that they told us that if people are comfortable, they can still do it online.
All right. What are you talking about? Are you talking to the teacher? Is that hi?
You guys make sure you work on your assignments though. And then
I am.
Okay, cool.
I think I did the let's see. I said I did the powers and exponents and multiplying and the dividing. What do you want to call that word?
Okay. You know what, Maria? I don't see you on my list. Alvarez, right?
It's Alvarado.
Yeah, I know. I don't have you on my list. So did you check in with Natalie? She gave you the schedule, right?
Yeah, Natalie's the one that gave me the schedule. And on my
Okay.
schedule, it shows you for my first period.
Okay, so this period is actually third period. And it's Algebra B.
I'm in the wrong class.
Yes.
So what
My bad.
do before now?
So let me show you. Hold on. So I'm gonna help you right now. Okay. So Maria. Did I spell it right? Alvarez?
No, it's Alvarado.
Oh, Alvarado. My bad.
Yeah.
Rado, right?
Yes.
So you see this picture right here? I mean, this screen?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
All right. So I'm going to tell you. So take a picture of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. So let me explain. So this Friday classes, those are not Monday to Friday. Those are just like through university and circles.
Okay.
Okay. Those are you have to log in on Friday for Street University will be first, and then after that, you take a couple of minutes
It's
a
10
break.
o'clock.
And then go to circles. Okay, so we'll give you more. I'll give you more information about that one. Okay, so the ones right now that you have is you don't have a first period, you don't have a second period. Basically, you just have fourth, fifth, and sixth. Okay,
All right.
so
Appreciate it, Trigo.
yeah. So look, I'm gonna show you something else that's important. So you see how the periods the periods were there. So let me just kind of see if I can zoom on this one. Okay. So you see how Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I teach period one. Sir also teaches period one. Okay. But you're not in period one. Okay.
Okay, so.
Period two, that's I teach that pre-algebra, and period two, he teaches at the same time history. But you're
I'm
not
not
in those
in
classes.
any of those, huh?
You only on this one.
Yeah, I'm the ones I took a picture of.
So what time is that?
That is for period 6 is at when is it?
1 to 1:50.
All right.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Let me stop recording. My
Oh, you're
bad.
still recording?
Yes.